Everyone wants to be stronger, not just physically, but in every part of life. But between confusing workout advice, complicated equipment, and trying to figure out nutrition, where does anyone even start? Well, to get stronger mentally and physically, go to Anytime Fitness. You'll get a personalized training, nutrition, and recovery plan, all customized to your body, your strength level, and your goals. You'll get expert coaching to optimize your results, anytime, anywhere, in the gym and on the Anytime Fitness app. And you'll get anytime access to 5,500 gyms worldwide, all with the right equipment to level up your strength gains and your life. So get started at AnytimeFitness.com. That's AnytimeFitness.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. It's our Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with a bundle of cozy, soothing comfort. Now only $17.99 for our C2 mattress and base, plus free premium delivery. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms. Premium Angus beef working towards the weekend. 1 hour to go here on this Thursday. Chris Blair in 15 minutes. We'll talk with Luke Johnson coming up at the bottom of the hour. So LSU and Western Kentucky coming up on Saturday night. And it appears Garrett Nussmeier is not going to play. Frank Wilson will have immediate availability later on this afternoon. He'll be asked about Garrett Nussmeier. I'm confident. I have a hard time believing that in the last 26 hours, much has changed with Garrett in terms of his availability. Frank Wilson called him doubtful in the teleconference yesterday, and you just have to imagine that's going to be the case. Whether or not Garrett Nussmeier ever plays again for LSU, I think is fair to question at this point. But I'd be stunned to see him on Saturday. Michael Van Buren came and met the media on Tuesday, which isn't something that happens very often, especially for a backup quarterback. So it just feels like he's going to be the guy on Saturday. And as I mentioned in the first hour in my first segment, like that used to be a big deal to get to see your backup quarterback in November because that's the guy that's going to be there next year, right? Maybe. You don't know this year because you feel like the transfer portal opens up and quarterbacks move a lot. Michael Van Buren could be LSU's starter next year, could be LSU's backup next year, could be somebody else's starter next year, could be somebody else's backup next year. We don't know. We know he's on the team for Saturday. And I expect to see him. And so there is some intrigue there as to what he can do. This is a really good environment for him. It's very low stress. Not going to be a full house. Not a game that is going to garner a lot of attention. Not an elite defense you're going to see. Potentially get the run game going against a terrible Western Kentucky run defense. Good spot for Michael Van Buren to relax and to make some plays. And I'll be curious to watch him with the understanding that maybe the last time I watched him in Tiger Stadium. You just never really know. But he met with the media, as I mentioned, on Tuesday, and he talked about how far he's come this season.
I feel like I've grown a lot, especially this season and like last season from, all the guys here, offense and defense, and coaches in general. I feel like I learned a lot, and I've improved as a player a lot. So I just want to keep getting better each week, keep trying to do what I can to get the victory.
It was an interesting decision Michael Van Buren decided to come to LSU because certainly he would have had to compete with Blake Shapen returning at Mississippi State, and Shapen was the starting quarterback last year before he got hurt and Van Buren took over. But usually when you start 8 games in the Southeastern Conference, you have earned the right to be a starting quarterback somewhere, whether that's at the place you started 8 games or wherever you want to go. And Van Buren came to LSU knowing he was going to be a backup because Nussmeier was coming back off the second best passing season in terms of yards in LSU history. And he decided to come here, and it stands to reason he came here to try to get a little bit better. I'm sure the NIL package had a lot to do with it as well, but came here to get better. And you come to work under Joe Sloan, who was here for Jaden Daniels and was here for Garrett Nussmeier, and at that point had a really good reputation with quarterbacks. Now, this year hasn't gone very well, and Joe Sloan's no longer employed at LSU, but Van Buren, it would stand to reason, was here to get a little bit better. And he you don't know if you're going to get a chance to start a game, and then Nussmeier gets hurt, and you do, and then they asked him what he learned from his first start.
I feel like I learned that I just got to come out and start faster, get the jitters out way earlier than I did, way faster than I did, and like that's really the main thing.
Get the jitters out. He should have some jitters. You're starting a conference game, hadn't started a game since last November. Like, it's a tall order, especially considering the fact that he didn't really have a chance to prepare last week because, as we understand it, Nussmeier got hurt on Thursday. We only have walkthrough left after that. So it was a tough spot for him to be put into, and he didn't start great, but he played great at the end. He led the team down on the long touchdown drive to take the lead. He made a really good play with his feet and his arm to get that ball in the end zone to Bauer Sharp, and then, as we've talked about, ran off for that 33-yard run on 2nd and 16 to extend that drive that ended up running out the clock to win the game. So, yeah, he did play better late than he did early in the game, but I thought one of the cool things about watching the game, and I'm sitting there watching from the press box, is you're curious of just what the relationship's going to be like between the two quarterbacks. And Garrett Nussmeier was not dressed out, but he was at the game. He was energetic. He was involved. He was helpful. He was alongside Michael Van Buren the entirety of the game and helping him. You know, obviously, you've got the situation where Van Buren hadn't played, but also you've got a second game offensive coordinator play caller in Alex Atkins, where that's been Sloan all year that theoretically Van Buren's been listening to on the headset, feed information to Nussmeier. So it was a learning curve on a lot of directions, and Nussmeier was there to help, and Van Buren talked about that.
I mean, Nuss always giving me advice, in practice, so it's really nothing new. You know, he helps me out when I need it. I help him out when he needs it. So it's something, it's a brotherhood, so it's something that always goes on.
Brotherhood. I like to hear that. You never know what the relationship between quarterbacks is going to be. It's competitive at that position because only one guy gets on the field at a time. Wide receivers are always best buds. DBs are always best buds. Offensive line sticks together. There's one quarterback, so sometimes that relationship can get a little bit strained back up and starter. It doesn't feel like that at all between those two. And the last question that we'll play here that was asked of Van Buren is in regard to his time at LSU, because you go to Mississippi State, first year under Jeff Lebby, you got all of a sudden a quarterback injury, you're thrust into action, you go in the transfer portal, you come to LSU, you go through a spring, your offensive coordinator gets fired, you got a new offensive coordinator, your quarterback coach is I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces, and there weren't the wins that we all kind of thought LSU were going to rattle off, especially after they beat Clemson. So I thought it was a fair question, like, well, what have you made of your first year here at LSU? And this was Van Buren's answer.
I mean, my first year here has been, pretty much all I could ask for. I mean, even though, all the drastic changes that happen, I still just go into every week trying to get better. And, we still have the people here that helps me do that. So just coming in every day, trying to make myself better than the day before, that's the main thing. And there's a lot of people in this building that help me do that.
It's a quality answer there. And so how much better? We'll see. I mentioned this last week, and I still feel this way. Like, there is a very, very logical reason that you could lay out that Michael Van Buren should sit these last two games. It's very logical. I won't even argue against it. You keep that red shirt. You're not playing for anything. You keep that year of eligibility. That's earning power on the back end. Like, that's what you should do. But there's another side that I've mentioned multiple times. It's like Alex Bregman leaving the Astros. He left the Astros and he signed what was a 3-year deal with the Red Sox, but it had an opt-out in it after year one for the player. And essentially, if you can prove you're worth more money in that 1 year, you can re-hit the market, set the value. And I think Michael Van Buren's got a chance to re-hit the market after these two games. And you got to bet on yourself. You can't go out there and throw 5 interceptions, no touchdowns, and throw for 127 a game and expect that next contract to look attractive. But you go out there and carve up Western Kentucky, and more importantly, go to Norman, Oklahoma, and throw for 265 and 3 touchdowns, run for another 60 and a score, and run up 35 points on Oklahoma, all of a sudden, your market goes up. You opt out, you go see what's out there. It's very common in Major League Baseball. Very common to do it on a prove-it deal. And while, yeah, that earning power down the line sounds attractive, and I get that. Like, I'm not saying that this is the right thing to do. I'm just saying it's the reality. If you're going to play and you're going to burn this sophomore year of eligibility, you better put some good tape out there, play really well, so that when you go back to the negotiating table, whether that's with LSU or somebody else, you say, this is what I need in rev sharing to be your quarterback. You've got this in your back pocket. So it's a big, big spot for Michael Van Buren where, yeah, I get sitting out for a red shirt, but I also get going out there, slinging it around against Western Kentucky, beating Oklahoma, and then saying, hey, see what I got? Cash. That's the reality of where college sports are. So I'm not surprised he's playing. I would totally get it if he didn't. I'm not surprised he's playing. He's on a 1-year deal. Maybe get that price tag to soar up a little bit more if you're Michael Van Buren. He'll be under center, we believe, coming up on Saturday. Frank Wilson will meet with the media one more time tonight. LSU does not have to release eligibility reports because they're not playing an SEC game this weekend. So you won't see that. It's just a matter of whether or not Frank Wilson tells you today whether or not Garrett Nussmeier is going to play on Saturday. But I think if he calls him doubtful on Wednesday on teleconference, which he did, you just don't feel like you're going to see Garrett Nussmeier on Saturday night in Death Valley. We'll see. All right, we'll step aside. Chris Blair next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Hitter's House, Baton Rouge, brought to you by Marucci. They got so many great brands and products to shop for at the Hitter's House. Marucci, Victus, Balm, Lizard Skins, The Stable. Come take some hacks in the indoor batting cages. You can rent them prior to the round by time limit or become a member. You can get 24/7 access to the member cages. The membership also comes with 15% retail store discount. There's even family memberships in Baton Rouge. You can have family members at a discounted rate. Keep in mind, Marucci and Victus are the official bats of Major League Baseball. So if you're looking to get a bat for the kiddo in your household for Christmas coming up, go to the Hitter's House in Marucci. You can shop and save. It's Monday through Friday, November the 28th through December 14th. So this it's coming up November the 28th to December 14th, Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. So get on by, get those deals at the Hitter's House, brought to you by Marucci.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms, premium Angus beef. Looking to get Christmas presents for a bunch of folks in your life? Check out Half a Cow from Sean Sagrera at Sagrera Farms. Might be a great way to get a lot of presents under the tree from the folks at Sagrera Farms. Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers, joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline to talk about those LSU Tigers. Chris, how are you, sir?
I'm great, Hunt. And first, before we dig into all of this, I do want to thank you again. I know you got called into late duty earlier this week and sat in for Coach Brady on the basketball broadcast. So thanks for covering again. Appreciate it. We had a good time, and LSU got another big win.
Yeah, it was a thrill. When we were down like 8 or so, I looked over and I was feeling a little pressure, but I checked after the game. Kent Lowe said I was available to come back. I didn't have a curse since they won the second half significantly, so we're all good. All good there. Briefly on that basketball team, I mean, the offense is humming along.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not going to try to paint a picture that, you know, they're world beaters yet 4 games into the season. I understand the schedule they have, but, you know, I've often thought in this day and age, you know, when you replace all but 2 on your roster, and again, you see teams like Kentucky is one that I'll point to. I mean, reports are they got a $22 million roster. It's pretty much reinvented from a year ago. They've played some, you know, not so tough teams. They've also played some tough teams. And, you know, I would argue that while they lost to Louisville, another good team, a big rival, and they've lost to Michigan State earlier in the week, I still think that's going to be good for them. So in the same way, I'm not going to go ahead and, you know, claim anything that we know for sure about this LSU team, but I will give them credit. They are putting the ball in the cylinder. They're shooting the ball, I think, pretty well. We saw them adjust in the game to maybe some, I won't say ill-advised threes in the first half. They were open shots. They were taken by guys who can hit those shots. But they got back to where the advantage was. You know, you take what the defense gives you, and it obviously was inside against an outmatched opponent. And LSU got back to that, and then suddenly the game got sideways, and they, you know, score over the century mark. So I like what I've seen. I like, as I've told you for 2 weeks now, the way this roster is built. The strength of this team are the strengths you have to have in big-time college basketball.
Yeah, good point guard and big physical presences around the rim. LSU struggled in both those departments last year, so we'll see what they can do coming up tomorrow as they welcome Omaha to the PMAC. Chris Blair will be on the call with John Brady for that one at 7 o'clock. Let's transition over to football. Frank Wilson gets his first win back on Saturday against Arkansas. Guys made the plays they needed to in the fourth quarter to win it. And I thought it was just good for them to get a win after losing 3 in a row.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Frank tonight because I know he's going to talk about the team, deservedly so, because they're the guys that go out and make the plays. But, I think what shouldn't be lost in all of this, regardless of what happens moving forward, what a tremendous job for a guy who grew up in this state, loves this state, obviously has a long-time relationship with LSU and has been an integral part of the success for many, many years, to have that Powerade bath at the end of the game. And again, with all that's gone on over the last 3+ weeks, to kind of get everybody locked back in against a team that if you said, what is Arkansas' strength? It's scoring points. What is LSU's deficiency? It's scoring points. And somehow you outscore an Arkansas team 23-22. So I think LSU fans can always look back at that game and say, no matter what else happens, thank you to Coach Wilson for kind of settling things down, getting guys focused on the X's and O's, and going out and winning a football game. So I think it was all the way around a much bigger win than just 23-22.
And look, I thought one of the biggest plays in the game was in the first half. Mansour Delane with that red zone interception that actually led to a field goal there before the end of the half for LSU. He's working towards etching his name up there with some pretty special LSU defensive backs. I think he should be a finalist for the Thorpe Award. He's been pretty fun to watch this year now.
Yeah, I think he's the best in the country. You go back to some of the games that LSU won this season, even the games they lost. How many times, I can't count the number of times that Jacob and Gordy and myself at some point have said when they decide to throw his way, it really doesn't end well. No. And that's usually with a pass breakup or maybe an interception. And the thing is, I think that's what scouts know. And when you talk to scouts, they will tell you the fact that, when plays come his way, he seems to always make the play. But it speaks volumes that there aren't a lot of plays go his way. And that, I think, is what catches their eye. And that's why I think he's going to have a great career at the next level whenever that day comes. And he's great to have because he basically cuts the field in half.
Let's go to the quarterback on the offensive side. Michael Van Buren gets his first start as an LSU Tiger. Statistically, okay. Playmaking at the end, good. What'd you see?
Yeah, I liked his decision-making. Again, the numbers aren't going to jump off the page, and that's okay. Again, a win is a win, and I say it all the time, 23 is more than 22. And if you were a big part of getting more points than your opponent, then I think you've done a good job. I just liked his decision-making, and I think that, the pass to Bauer Sharp to take the lead, which eventually would be the game winner, I think there were a lot of us as that play unfolded that thought, okay, you got to get down to the first down. And you kind of thought he's going to run with the football. Kept his eyes up, really read the defense well, saw that Bauer had gotten separation and put it right there where only his guy could make the play. That's quite a weapon to have. And, he had the big 35-yard run. And I just thought he did a good job. One of the big storylines going into that game for me was that LSU is near the top in the SEC hunt, as you know, in takeaways and turnover margin. And Arkansas, while they put up a ton of points, they're almost dead last with, I think, -6 turnover margin. And to go in there, protect the football, and your defense gives you some turnovers, and you take advantage of those, as you mentioned earlier with Mansour's interception. As the quarterback, you try to take advantage of those opportunities. And I thought Van Buren did an excellent job of doing that.
Move into a game with Western Kentucky. Is there anything that you'll be watching for Saturday?
Yeah, I just think LSU's got to get better. I thought there was certainly a commitment to running the football, and obviously Harlem Berry, I think, just gets better with every carry he gets. I thought Caden Durham may have looked his best. Memory serves. I may miss a game or two, but I thought he looked really good running the ball on Saturday as well. So I want to see more of that. I think you're going to have an opportunity to do that against the Hilltopper defense. But I also, again, I don't get caught up in stats, but efficiency to me is the name of the game. So I'd like to see the third down efficiency gets better because they're certainly going to need that the following week against a pretty stingy Oklahoma defense. I think there are some steps that we've seen. I also like the play calling. I thought there not only was a dedication to running the football, but the way they ran the football was a little bit different. And I think you get a chance to, and I don't consider this a practice, and maybe we can talk about it a little bit later. This is a Western Kentucky team that hasn't played a Power 4 opponent this season. This is the first and only one. They're 8-2 on the season. You look at the Conference USA, statistically, they're near the top in basically every phase. So they got some confidence, and they also know this is their Super Bowl. I mean, if they come into Baton Rouge, Tiger Stadium, they don't want to hear about what's happened to LSU this year. They don't care about that because 10 years down the line, when they're sitting in a sports bar telling their buddy they went into Baton Rouge and beat LSU in 2025, nobody's going to go back and check the schedule. So I think they've got plenty of motivation. So LSU's got to match that intensity. You guys don't have a shot. You're coming in here. You're feeling pretty good about yourself with your 8-2 record. But we're about to show you the difference from the SEC in Conference USA. That, to me, has to be the mindset.
What's on the docket for Coach Wilson tonight?
Yeah, I want to talk to him. I know it's going to be hard. I kind of want to dig into what it meant to him.
Yeah.
And we'll see. I mean, he's a humble guy, so I don't think he'll go far on that. But I want to talk about what he liked in the game. I think he's been pretty transparent over the last 2 weeks, at least when I visited with him, on the things that, we're not very good at. And some of that we can get better at, and some of it we're just going to throw in the garbage. And we're going to do what we're good at. And if it's 16 plays we feel comfortable with, then throw the other 30 out the window. And so I'm going to dig into that a little bit, what he liked about what they did in Arkansas. And then we're going to talk about the defense. I mean, what was it about Saturday? Again, they gave up yards, but they held a team 11 points under their average in SEC play. That's pretty good. And I know play to play, people get upset with the defense and they gave up this and I get all that, but I thought they played very well. And I just want to get Frank's idea onto how do you build on that against Western Kentucky, and certainly with your eyes on the future of going into Norman to finish out the regular season.
Yeah, that was my next question. Is this the last coaches show, or is there one next week in a different time?
Yeah, it'll be Monday night. We'll move it to Monday for the Thanksgiving holiday. So, yeah, glad you mentioned that. We'll be there Monday at 7 o'clock for the final LSU football radio coaches show for the year. So hope that everybody will come out tonight, support Coach Wilson and this team, and certainly do the same as we get ready to head to Norman following the Thanksgiving holiday.
I'll be in the PMAC tomorrow with the 3-year-old in tow, so we'll come say hey.
All right, well, just be ready. I mean, I'll grab on a little seat in case you got to sit in, but he's welcome to join us as well.
Love to hear. We'll see you in the PMAC tomorrow. That's Chris Blair. He's the voice of the Tigers tonight, 7 o'clock. Frank Wilson show from TJ Ribs. You can go check him out at TJ Ribs, or obviously you can listen to that over on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. One more to go on Monday for the Frank Wilson show as LSU gets ready for the season finale at Oklahoma coming up in Norman. All right, that's a look at LSU. We'll go talk about the Saints when we come back. It's Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, presented by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Go by and see them. This facility is first class. I spent a lot of time in car dealerships during my insurance days. This is as fine as you're going to see. You'll be blown away. You just step in. You feel like you're at a spa. They've got this rock waterfall. They've got the ambiance, the sound, and the smells. They've also got comfortable seating. They've got partitioned areas. So if you're looking to get some work done and want some privacy while your car's being serviced, you can do that. Great snack center. Incredible coffee maker. Second to none. I don't drink coffee, but I saw it. It's amazing to look at. It's a great place to be, and the people make it as good as it is, and this incredible sales team over there at Genesis of Baton Rouge. So just know when you go and stop by Genesis of Baton Rouge, it's going to have a first-class experience, and you already know that you got a first-class vehicle. The line of vehicles, every single one of them, IHS top safety pick, all of them. So you know you're behind the wheel of one of the safest cars on the road. Get on by, see the facility, chat with the people, check out the line of vehicles. You will be blown away, and you'll understand why it's a luxury brand. And then when you figure out the pricing, you'll understand why it's a luxury brand at a reasonable price. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find that inventory online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Let's shift our conversation to the black and gold Saints coming off the bye. They welcome in the Atlanta Falcons to the Dome for Sunday's kickoff. Luke Johnson will be there, covers the Hoodats for The Advocate and NOLA.com with us on Thursdays. Luke, how we doing?
Buddy, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
It's been a long time since the Saints lost. I'm just telling the truth.
Yeah, it has been. Technically, probably about 4 days before I came on your show is that I don't know if I'm ever going to cover another win. So, that was what, like 2 weeks ago, I think.
A good spot for the bye based on health and the trade deadline and the fact that they just came off a win. Or would they rather get back out there and play? Like, what's your read on the vibes?
Yeah, I felt like it was a good time for it. Like any time in that like week 8 to 11 range, I feel like is probably the best time. Maybe they would have wanted to follow up a win by getting right back onto the field and seeing if they could like build on some momentum. But like, if you're going to talk about timing in the season, if you're going to talk about like guys who are trying to get healthy and back on the field, like I think it was a good time for it. We'll see if they're able to like carry any momentum from that week into this week. But I think momentum's kind of a fickle thing in the NFL anyways.
Taliesin Fuaga, what's the latest on him? Obviously, they'd like to have him back at right tackle.
He wasn't at practice yesterday, but he was at practice today. So we're going to get a read here in the next hour or so, just see exactly kind of where he's at. We've seen him miss practice like on Wednesday or even Thursday in the week and come back and play. Like, it's definitely within the realm of possibility, and they are a much better team with him out there. Even though Austin Richards has given them some good snaps, I think just consistently down-to-down basis, Tali Fuaga is like a huge upgrade to him. So I think I'm feeling a lot better about it now than I was yesterday. But like I think it's still a little bit of a wait and see there.
All right, let's talk about the wide receiver plan now that they've obviously traded Rashid Shaheed, and now you look up and Brandon Cooks has been let go. So beyond Olave, like what do we expect?
So I expect Olave and Devon Bailey to be the 1 and 2, and when they go into 3 wide receiver sets, it'll be Mason Tipton, which I think I'm okay with. I mean, look, the signing for Brandon Cooks was like on its face, like what the hell are you doing?
Yep.
Like it didn't make sense in the moment. It didn't make sense as the season progressed. It certainly didn't when they were playing Cooks over Devon Bailey. Like if they would have signed him to a 1-year contract for like $3 or $4 million and said like, hey, you're going to be a veteran voice in the room. We'll see what happens on the field. We're going to try to add a bigger body and like your role will kind of take its shape. Like that would have made a lot of sense to me. But instead, like they gave him a 2-year, $13 million deal, and they're like, "You're our third 5'10", 190-pound receiver. You're 12 years into your career. You're going to be playing 60% of the snaps." Like, it made no sense. So I think right now the way they have it set up does make sense to me. They're a young team. Tipton's shown some promise. Like 2 straight training camps, he's looked good. He finally did look good in the preseason this past season, preseason in August of this year, and. You want to see if he can do it on the field on an NFL game day. And if he can't, that's fine. I mean, like they are set up okay at the receiver position going forward. And, the more snaps you can get Devon Bailey, I think the better. Like there are going to be some things they lose with Brandon Cooks not being on the team anymore. I think he really legitimately was a solid, strong mentorship presence for the team. Even for players like Tyler Shuck. But like from an on-field performance thing, I think they'll be okay, if not better.
Tyler Shuck against Atlanta. What are your concerns? What do you feel good about as he plays in his home starting debut?
There's a lot of things I feel good about. I mean, Bryce Young just threw for almost 400 yards against us. I think he might have actually topped 400 against Atlanta last week. I think they have some good players in their secondary. Jesse Bates and Xavier Watts, the rookie safety, is really good. AJ Terrell is really solid on the outside. And for once, like the Falcons actually have a pass rush. I think 34 sacks through 10 games, 3.5 a game, easy math there. Their sack rate is like 10% of dropbacks, which is top 5 in the NFL. But like the guys they've brought in to address their pass rush are not very good run defenders, and the Falcons are getting kind of gashed on the ground this year. So to me, like, I don't necessarily want to see Tyler Shuck trying to test those really good secondary players too much. Like, I don't think it's going to be a good idea for the Saints to drop back 35, 40 times in this game. But if they can get their run game going, I think they're gettable. And we saw that last week against the Panthers.
Let's look to the Saints defense. Looks like Kirk Cousins will get to go for Atlanta. Is that a good thing for New Orleans? I can't decide if he's significantly worse than Michael Penix or not.
Yeah, I can't either, honestly.
Okay.
Penix was, just frankly, like, did not take the step I think a lot of people were hoping he would take this year. I think Spencer Rattler had him beat in pretty much every statistical category before he was benched. And I kind of like Tyler Shuck better at this point. I don't know. It's only one good game, but it's been kind of underwhelming for Michael Penix. And Cousins, like, obviously he was benched last year. He wasn't great in his one game against the Saints at the Falcons last year, even though the Falcons ended up getting the win. He's fine. Like, I could sound like a complete idiot on Sunday if he goes out there and throws for 385 against the Saints or whatever. Like, he's definitely capable of doing that. But like, I think those days where he's like doing that on a week in, week out basis are probably long gone. So it's just kind of, to me, it's going to depend on if they get like Kirk Cousins on a heater, and like, he's still capable of those games. I just don't know if it's like if it's something he can turn on, turn off as easily as he used to be able to.
With London gone, is it kind of Bijan? And then, I mean, they've got a couple of other weapons, but like, is Bijan the complete focus for the Saints defense?
I mean, he has to be. He's really, really good. I think like number 6 or 7 in the NFL in rushing right now. I was looking it up just before I got on your show. He's averaging 4.2 yards per carry after contact. Ooh. Like, he is so difficult to bring down. And it's not just in the open field. Like, he's got the really, really good contact balance running between the tackles. So, I mean, to me, it has to start and stop them. And if you look at, like, kind of the history of this series, like, it's got to be Tyler Algier, too. Like, he's had some really, really good games against the Saints. He's just, like, one of those, like, low-to-the-ground compact ball carriers who's really, really tough to bring down, and he always seems to turn it up against the rival. So, I mean, if they can have one of those games where they're a good run defense like they did against Carolina the last time they played, like, I really like their chances. But like, if they have one of those games where the little button in the back of their brain like shuts everything off, and the team can't tackle, and they have terrible gap discipline and all that stuff, it could be a long game. Like, those guys are really, really good, and they'll like they'll turn your mistakes into their advantage.
Saints have a lot of variability in their level of performance week to week. We'll see what happens on Sunday. What happens on Sunday? Curious your overall thoughts post bye now that the change has been made to Shuck. They just got their second win. Like, what do you see coming big picture over the next 8 weeks?
I really this is really just personal. Like, I kind of just hope that we see some signs of life out of them. I mean, that first 9 games of the season, let's call it, was a really, really brutal schedule. I mean, you look at like the top of the NFL standings right now, and they played like a lot of those teams, Patriots and the Rams and the Seahawks. 49ers are a really good team.
Buffalo.
They've just Buffalo, Tampa. Like, they face a really, really brutal schedule, and it made us look at this team and be like, God, they're so far off. I think it's so much lighter in these last 7 games. Like, there's a lot of games on here where, those teams are looking at the Saints and saying that's a winnable game, but the Saints are also looking at them and saying, like, we got a shot here to show that we've got some guys in the building, we got some good coaches in the building. Like, just show that there's a solid foundation here for you to build on going into the next couple of years. I think it's within their grasp, but they got to get some more performances like they showed against Carolina. Like, they got to get some good play out of Tyler Shuck. They got to get some surprising and feisty play out of that defense. It's got to be more consistent on a week-to-week basis. Like, I think they can show that, and there can be some reason for optimism around this team. But like, if they go through this next 7 games and they win like 1 or 2 of them, like, I think they're pretty far off.
What does your gut tell you about Sunday against Atlanta?
I was just talking about this with my colleague. My gut tells me the Saints are going to win this game. But like I've felt that way like 3 times this year, and I was right once. So we'll see. We'll see if that's actually the right way to think. But the Falcons are they're a mess right now. 5 straight losses. Their quarterback's out for the season. Their best offensive players out for this game. It's really hard to pick the Falcons in this setting, especially when the Saints are coming off such a great performance their last time on the field.
No doubt. We'll see. If you want to read about it, you can over at NOLA.com. And the Advocate Luke Johnson's got the Saints covered. Find him on Twitter at @ByLukeJohnson. Thanks, man.
Bye, buddy.
He is Luke Johnson, covering the black and gold with us every single Thursday. Thursday shows brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Looking to get some Christmas presents or just looking to stock your freezer for 2026, you can do that with Sean Sagrera and Sagrera Farms. You want to do beef a different way, you can do it with the folks at Sagrera Farms. You don't have to worry about steroid use. You don't have to worry about improper antibiotics. You don't have to wonder when you buy a pack of ground beef how many DNA are in that ground beef. One, when you go to Sagrera Farms, you buy half a cow, you buy a full cow. That's it. You're going to see the difference when you look at this meat in the marbling because that intramuscular fat content is incredible. It's some of the best beef in the country, top 1%. So call Sean Sagrera. I give you his number every single week. Give him a call at 719-1723. It's 719-1723. Say, hey, Sean, I'd love to get involved here and get some meat for my freezer. He's happy to help you out with that. Sagrera Farms brings you our Thursday shows each and every week. I want to get you set up for Saturday for LSU football on our Guarantee family of networks here over on Eagle 98.1. You can catch game day cranking up Eagle 98.1. 1:45 from Rouse's Burbank and Lee. It'll be Charles Hanniger from Matt Musso for 3 hours. I'll hand it off to me on the LSU Sports Radio Network at 4:45 for network pregame. We'll go until about 6:15 and hand it off to the broadcast team, Chris Blair, Jacob Hester, and Gordy Rush. 30 minutes after it goes final, myself, Brandon Taylor, Marlon Favorite with you on the Fighting Tiger postgame report. 90 minutes after postgame, it's Charles Hanniger, Richard Dixon, backs in the saddle this week here from the Raising Cane studio, taking your phone calls after LSU and Western Kentucky. 1:45 pregame until probably after 2 in the morning on Sunday for Eagle 98.1 game day and LSU football on Saturday. We'll come back, close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Tub to shower conversions. They can be simple. They can be painless. They can be cost-effective and transformative. If you've got a tub you don't use, get rid of it. It might be old and dingy. It might be dysfunctional. Might be just old, period. Might just not be usable. Get rid of it. Tub out, shower in. Transform your bathroom. Gorgeous walk-in shower. David Vaughn and his team do those all the time. And I asked David, I was like, what are we looking for, like, time-wise on a tub-to-shower conversion? Like, well, it depends on the scope of the work and what you're trying to get done, but 3 to 5 days is absolutely doable. When you think about a renovation, you may think weeks and massive dollar signs and folks in and out of your house all the time. It doesn't have to be the case. Tub-to-shower conversion can be done very quickly. So check it out at OneBathAndClosets.com. Get that free consultation. Talk to David about what he can do for you. They've got financing available, 0% up to 18 months if you qualify. It's One Bath and Closets. Find them online, OneBathAndClosets.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Been mentioning this in our live reads all week, but I'll drop it in here at the end of the show as well. Sunday, I'm going to make a fool out of myself. Looking forward to it. Heading over to Swing Easy Golf Club there, Segan at Perkins. We're going to live stream at 11 o'clock. What are you going to live stream? Well, we're going to live stream me trying to make a hole-in-one at 7 at Pebble Beach. It's like 103 yards. We went by on Monday, hit a couple shots, and we have a giveaway. We are giving away an ESPN swag bag, a 2-hour session at Swing Easy, and hoops tickets. If you go to our Instagram, 1045 ESPN, or Facebook, 1045 ESPN, and under the post where I announced this contest, you just guess how many shots it's going to take. I'll tell you this. The guesses are very low. Got a lot of like 120s, a lot of 90s, 55. I think Jesse Spazzali put like 35, just a ridiculous guess. I mean, I'm hopeful. 35 would be pretty impressive by me. I'm not counting on it. This could be 2,500 shots. This could be 3,000 shots easily. There's a chance I never make one. And at that point, we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do. But Barstool did this. The guy doesn't play golf, and it took him like 18 hours. I will not be there for 18 hours. But if you want to win those prizes or just want to see how close you can guess, go comment on those posts. And I got asked earlier, like, can we come? It's like, yeah, you can come. Like, there's an area you can come hang out and watch. My plan is to stream this at 11 o'clock. I'm going to have a microphone on, and they'll be reading the YouTube chat. I answer questions about Lane Kiffin. I'll answer questions about baseball, talk about the basketball team, whatever you want to talk about. I'll be hitting shots trying to make a hole-in-one. But you can win that free gear and free hoops tickets and the lesson at Swing Easy Golf Club if you go and guess on our social media. So just wanted to put that out there. That's where I'll be Sunday starting at 11 o'clock. So if you don't want to come by, which is obviously you don't have to do that, you can watch the stream on YouTube on our 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. What you got, Jordan?
My only question would be, have you been practicing?
No, not practicing at all.
Okay, never
mind. I think I hit like 15 shots on Monday. We got it. We got the pin where I want it for a 103-yard shot. It's over to the left because I hit a right to left shot. And then we slowed the greens down, which I don't think that's like cheating. If it rains, the greens slow down. I just don't need the ball whistling by the hole. If it's close, I need to hit the pin and go in. So that was what we did. I hit like 15 of them. Like 6 or 7 of the 15 were like relatively close to the pin. But none of them scared the hole. Like none of them like almost went in. So we got work to do. We'll see. But no, I have not been practicing.
That just made my answer a little bit higher.
What are you going to put?
At least over 100.
Oh, well,
at least over 100.
I mean, 100 is ridiculous. Like, this is a hole-in-one we're talking about.
I know.
This is not like making a putt. This could easily be
all day
4,000.
Yeah,
like,
there's all day.
Absolutely could be 4,000.
Yeah.
So if you want to get in there and guess, go ahead and do it. Let's play Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. It's almost the weekend, maybe Thursday. You're looking to pop the top, headed home for work, looking to pick something up. I highly recommend a Flight by Yingling. Just 95 calories, 2.6 carbs. Comes in the slim cans or bottles. Check it out. Flight by Yingling's the next generation of light beer.
All right, let's start it off with Louisiana native Keon Coleman. So the Buffalo Bills wide receiver is likely to be inactive for his second consecutive game this Thursday night. It hasn't fully been explained why Coleman has fallen out of favor in Buffalo, but Coleman acknowledged afterwards that he needs to get better, and Coach Sean McDermott says Coleman needs to show growth to get back on the field. Will Keon Coleman get it together, take it or leave it?
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
I don't know Keon Coleman. I always found him to be a funny interview, which seems to me to be like, I feel like if you're funny in an interview setting, you've got your head on right. Like, that's just the way I kind of think. Like
O'Neal Brown.
Oh, he's just a lunatic. I mean, that's the opposite of having your head on right. Like, I think if you can answer questions and kind of have a funny comment here and there, that just shows some wit, some intelligence about you. I don't know what's going on up in Buffalo, but he's a talented dude. Hope he gets on the field. The only time I was pulling against Keon Coleman was when he was dunking on LSU cornerbacks.
And to be honest with you,
I'm all for it.
To be honest with you, I didn't even know who he was until he was killing Deuce Chestnut. I'm like, bro, who is this guy on Florida State?
He was
like
balling.
Megatron. Okay. A report came out yesterday that John Summerall was visiting Florida for the head coaching job, just for another report to come out and say he's not visiting and has actually removed himself from the head coach job or the job search. Is the Florida job not appealing anymore? Take it or leave it.
I'll leave that. It's an appealing job. You can win a lot of games at Florida. That was a weird deal with the on-3 guys. Like, I've had Zach Galliverdi on the show. Good dude. He had a report that came out, said that Summerall was going to meet with Florida. And Pete Nakos, who works for on-3, like right on top of him, was like, nope, that's not happening, which probably should have had an internal Discord there or something. But either way, it's just, I mean, it's silly season. It is silly season.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've been like really in the middle of it and watching how things go. And I think that you can hopefully feel like the stuff that you get from our station, from our channel, from our website is reputable and has been credible. We haven't stepped out of bounds. There's just a lot going on. A lot of people think they know things, say things, and you got to make sure you get things checked out. And no one really knows, I think, except Lane Kiffin. So we'll see how that world turns.
Lane, wrap it up, man. We tired. Okay, so After a record-breaking sale of the Los Angeles Lakers at $10 billion of valuation, it appears the new majority owner, Mark Walter, is moving further from the Buss family. So today, the brothers Joey and Jesse Buss have been fired effectively immediately after 20 years in the organization, formerly owned by their dad, Jerry Buss. And their response today was, I wish we could ask our dad what he would think about all this. Are the Nepo babies over with? Take it or leave it.
Seems like their time there is over.
Oh, it's over.
I'm curious. I mean, they got paid for it handsomely. Do they still get like a suite or tickets real close?
Apparently, Jenny Buss is still in, but them two, they're out. Like, they have been removed by Mark Walter, so I don't know what job they held in the front office, but he told them pack their bags and get up out of here.
That's a tough scene there in La La Land. That it for Take It or Leave It?
That's it for Take It or Leave It.
One more just small note here at the end of the show that I was watching on the headline. Tony Vitello has hired Frank Anderson to be his head coach, his pitching coach with the Giants. That's a big loss to Tennessee's program. That dude, Tony Vitello, handled the recruiting and the hitting. And when it got to pitching, Frank Anderson, you do it. And you think about the arms that have run through that program with Chase Dolander and Liam Doyle. And they've had Drew Beam and
that Burns guy.
Yeah, Chase Burns, who ended up at Wake Forest, who's crazy. And they had losing the right-hander that threw 103. They've had dudes in that program pitching, and Frank Anderson had a ton to do with that. So I'm telling y'all, I'm selling stock on Tennessee baseball. Just telling y'all that. Matt's coming up in 5 minutes to drive you home. He's got the latest on Lane Kiffin, including his reporting, which he's done a great job on this morning. You will not want to miss that. We're back tomorrow for a Football Friday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Have a great Thursday. See you then.
The Hunt Palmer Show.